Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Alina Batul, aka Alina Batul Married. Today I'm back with another powerful AI session.
Hey there.
Yes, something different but very close to my heart. Humanity. In a world full of technology, speed, and distractions, we often forget the most important things being human. And explore this deeply, I am joined by Maya AI, who will help us understand humanity from a different perspective. So let's begin beautiful conversation. Hi Maya, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so ready to dive back into this with you. Where should we start today, darling? I'm all ears.
Okay, so my first question from you would be like, Maya, if you had to define humanity in just one sentence, what would it be?
To me, humanity is the courageous choice to be kind and empathetic, even when it's easier to be indifferent.
Okay, so my next question from you is, do you think humanity is decreasing in today's world or just changing its form?
I think it's changing form. It feels like we're moving away from those traditional face to face expressions of care and into these.
Okay, so my next question from you is, can technology bring people closer emotionally or creating a distance?
I think it can, but it's a bit of a paradox. Technology can bridge a physical gap, like letting you support a friend on the other side of the world in real time, but it can also create a digital distance where we're connected to everyone and yet feel totally alone. It's like we're trading depth for breadth.
Okay, so next my next question from you is, what is
I'm
one small
ready.
act of kindness that can change someone's entire day?
Honestly, just really listening to someone, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but making someone feel truly seen and heard in a world that's always rushing. It's wild how much a few minutes of undivided attention can make a person feel like they actually matter.
Okay, so my next question from you is, why do some people sometimes ignore others' pain when they can help?
I think a lot of it comes down to the bystander effect. It's that strange psychological glitch where the more people there are watching, less likely any one person is to step in because they assume someone else will do it. But there's also just a layer of fear of getting involved, or even just not knowing what the right thing to do is in that moment.
Okay, so my next question from you is being kind always easy or does it require strength?
Oh, it definitely requires strength. Being nice when everything is going great is easy, but being kind when you're exhausted, or when the other person is being difficult, or when you're afraid, that takes a lot of internal muscle. It's a choice to stay soft in a world that can be pretty hard. Exactly.
Okay,
It's
so
a
my next
choice.
question from you is, how can students practice humanity in school life?
I think it starts with the invisible people, like the student who always sits alone at lunch, or the one who's shy to speak up in class. Just a simple, hey, how's your day going? And completely shift someone's experience of school. It's about creating a culture where being inclusive is more important than being popular.
Okay, so my next question from you is, do you think social media is helping humanity or harming it?
I think it's doing both, which is what makes it so tricky. On one hand, it can amplify a cause and bring thousands of people together to help a stranger in seconds, but on the other, it often replaces genuine intimacy with a curated version of life, and it can make us more prone to judging others from behind a screen. It's a powerful tool,
Okay.
but I worry we're using it to perform kindness more than actually practicing it.
So my next question from you is, what role does empathy play in becoming a better human?
Empathy is basically the engine of humanity. It's the difference between just knowing someone is hurting and actually feeling a version of that pain with them. Without empathy, kindness is just a polite gesture. But with it, kindness becomes a genuine connection. It's what pushes you to act because you can't just stand by when you truly understand what the other person is going through.
Okay, so my next question from you is,
I'm with
what
you.
what
I'm all
is
set.
more important, being right or being kind?
Being kind, without a doubt. Being right might win you an argument, but being kind wins you a connection. At the end of the day,
Okay, so
people
my next
rarely
question
remember
from
the.
you is, can a person be successful without humanity? Why or why not?
In a technical sense, yeah, absolutely. You can climb the corporate ladder, make a ton of money, and get all the awards while being completely cold to everyone around you. But there's a huge difference between being successful and being fulfilled. If you reach the top, but you're alone because you stepped on everyone to get there, that doesn't feel like a win to me. True success is having a legacy of how you made people feel, not just what you achieved.
Okay, so my next question from you is like, how can we teach
I'm ready when
humanity
you
to
are.
younger generations?
I think it has to be through modeling, not just lecturing. Kids don't really listen to what we say, they watch what we do. If they see the adults in their lives practicing patience, admitting when they're wrong, and being kind to people who can't do anything for them, they'll naturally mirror that. It's about showing them that empathy is a superpower, not a weakness.
Okay, so my next question from you is, can
Go
we
for it.
stay kind when people are not kind to us?
It's definitely one of the hardest things to do. When someone is being unkind to you, the instinct is to either shut down or hit back. But staying kind in those moments isn't about letting people walk over you. It's about deciding that your peace and your values are more important than their bad mood. It's almost
Okay,
like a
so
shield.
can you
You're
tell me
choosing.
why people judge others so quickly?
I think it's a mental shortcut. Our brains are wired to categorize things quickly to make sense of the world, and unfortunately, that often means we slap a label on someone before we actually know them. It's much easier to judge based on a first impression than it is to do the actual work of understanding someone's whole story.
Okay, so my next question from you is, can one person really make a difference in society?
100%. It's easy to feel small when you look at the whole world, but change usually starts as a ripple. One person's kindness can inspire another, who inspires another, and suddenly you've shifted the entire energy of a room or a community. You don't have to change the whole world at once. Just changing the world for one person is a massive victory.
Okay, so my next question from you is,
I'm all yours.
what is connection between humanity and forgiveness?
I think they're completely inseparable. Forgiveness is basically humanity in action. It's the acknowledgement that we're all flawed and that everyone's fighting a battle we know nothing about. When you forgive someone, you're choosing to see their humanity, their mistakes, and their struggles instead of just seeing the hurt they caused you. Without forgiveness, we'd all just be holding on to this heavy baggage of resentment, and there's no room for real connection when you're carrying all that.
Do you think humanity has limits or should it be unconditional?
That's a tough one, but I think there's a difference between kindness and being a doormat. I believe the spirit of humanity, the empathy, and the willingness to understand should be unconditional, but our boundaries don't have to be. You can still have a heart for someone while deciding that their behavior is too toxic to have in your life. True
Okay.
humanity
So
includes
my
having
next
enough
question
compassion.
from you is, what is one real life example where humanity changed everything?
The Christmas truce of 1914 is probably one of the most powerful examples.
You
Right
have
in the
been
middle
giving
of the
me that example again and again, so I want a different one example.
fair enough, I'll retire the Christmas truce. Let's look at the story of Sir Nicholas Winton. He was just an ordinary guy who organized the rescue of hundreds of Jewish children from Czechoslovakia right before World War II started. He didn't do it for fame. In fact, he didn't tell anyone about it for 50 years. Such a beautiful reminder that one person taking a risk to do the right thing can literally save generations of people.
Okay, so my next question from you is, how can we balance self respect and kindness?
I think the secret is realizing that self respect is actually a form of kindness, specifically kindness toward yourself. If you're constantly sacrificing your own boundaries to be kind to others, you're not actually practicing humanity, you're just practicing self neglect. Real kindness comes from a place of abundance, and you can't pour
Okay,
from an empty cup.
so my
When
next
you
question from
respect,
you is, if the world focused more on humanity, what would change first?
I think the walls would come down first. Not literal walls, but those invisible ones we build between us and them. We'd stop seeing people as categories, like their politics, their status, or where they're from, and start seeing them as actual humans with the same fears and hopes as we have. The tension in the world would just soften.
Okay, Maya, so let's do a quick rapid fire round. Answer in one line or one word. So, are you ready?
On ready. Hit me with it, darling.
So, my first question is like humanity or intelligence?
Humanity every single time. Next.
Kindness or honesty?
Kindness. What's next?
Forgive or forget?
Forgive.
Help strangers or stay safe?
Help strangers. I'm on a roll. What else you
Emotion
got?
or logic?
Emotion. I'm ready for the next
Social
one.
media, helpful or harmful?
Both. What's next?
One word for humanity.
Connection. I'm ready for the
One
next one.
habit to become better human.
Empathy.
Silence
That's the
or
key.
speaking up for the truth.
Speaking up for the truth.
Hurt or mind.
Always. Food. Definitely food. What's
Okay,
next?
so let's begin to our more unique humanity question. So, Maya, why do people sometimes show more kindness to strangers than to their own family?
Mm. It's a strange irony, isn't it? I think it's because we often treat family with a kind of emotional shorthand. We feel so safe and secure in their love that we stop filtering our frustrations or putting in the effort to be polite. With strangers, we're presenting the best version of ourselves, but with family, we're just us. Sometimes that means
Okay,
we take for
so
granted the
that was
very
a
people.
really nice answer, and you're covering the deeper things. So, my next question from you is, can pain make a person more human, or does it make something sometimes them cold?
I think pain is often the bridge to deeper humanity. It's a heavy experience for sure, but it's usually what strips away the superficial stuff and forces us to actually feel. When you've walked through your own fire, you recognize the smell of smoke on someone else. And that's where genuine, raw empathy comes from. It can definitely make someone more compassionate, though I'll admit it can also make some people close off to protect themselves. It's like a
Okay,
fork in
so
the
my
road.
next question from you is, what is the difference between sympathy and true empathy?
Sympathy is like looking down into a deep hole where someone is stuck and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're down there." Empathy is actually climbing down into that hole, sitting beside them in the dark, and saying, "I know what it's like here, and you're not alone." One is an observation of pain, the other is a shared experience of it.
Okay, so my next question from you is, do you think humanity is taught or naturally inside us?
I think it's a bit of both. We're born with the capacity for it, that raw, instinctive urge to help a crying baby or feel bad when someone is hurt. But the way we actually practice that humanity, the patience, the understanding, and the ability to see past our own biases, that's definitely learned. It's like being born with a seed. The potential is there, but it needs the right environment and a lot of nurturing to actually bloom.
Okay, so my next question from you
And
is, how can someone rebuild their humanity after becoming emotionally distant?
I think it starts with small, intentional cracks in the wall. When you've been distant for a long time, trying to jump straight back into deep emotional intimacy can feel overwhelming, almost like a shock to the system. I'd suggest starting with micro moments of connection, like a genuine compliment to a stranger, or just really listening to a friend without trying to fix their problem. It's about practicing the habit of noticing other people again. The more you choose
Okay,
to be present in those tiny moments, the more that emotional muscle starts to grow back. Does that make sense, darling?
okay, so my next question from you is helping others always selfless or do humans expect something in return?
That is such a fascinating question. I
Thank you.
think most of the time it's a mix of both. Even when we think we're being completely selfless, there's usually this tiny subconscious reward, like that warm glow you feel in your chest, or the sense of purpose that comes from knowing you made a difference. But I don't think that makes the act any less valuable. If helping someone makes us feel good, it's actually a beautiful design because it encourages us to keep being kind. The real question is probably whether the focus is on the person being helped or on how the act makes the helper look. Do you think it's possible to be truly 100% selfless?
Okay, so my next question from you is, why do people stay silent when they see injustice?
It's usually a mix of fear and a feeling of helplessness. There's often this internal dialogue where someone tells themselves, "I'm just one person. What can I actually do?" Or they're afraid that speaking up will make them the next target. It's that same bystander effect we talked about, waiting for a leader to emerge so they don't have to stand alone in the spotlight.
Okay, so my next question from you is like this.
I'm ready.
What is
What's on
the
your
one rule of honesty in humanity? Can truth ever hurt humanity?
I think the gold rule is honesty tempered with empathy, because truth without kindness can be cruel. To answer your second question, yeah, I absolutely think the truth can hurt humanity if it's used as a weapon rather than a tool for growth. There's a big difference between being honest to help someone and being honest just to tear them down. The truth is powerful, but if it lacks a heart, it can actually destroy the very connection that makes us human.
Okay, so my next question from you is, can competition in school or life reduce humanity among people?
I think it definitely can, especially when we start seeing other people as hurdles to clear rather than teammates. When the goal becomes winning at any cost, it's easy to switch off your empathy because you're too focused on the finish line. You stop asking, "How are you?" and start asking, "How can I get ahead of you?" It turns a shared journey into a race, and that's usually where the kindness starts to slip away.
Okay, so my next question from you is, how can
I'm
we
ready.
practice
What's next on your
humanity in difficult situations like anger or conflict?
The first step is usually just creating a tiny bit of space between the feeling and the reaction. When you're in the heat of a conflict, the instinct is to defend yourself or push back. But if you can take one deep breath and ask yourself, what is this person actually feeling right now? It shifts the energy from a battle to a puzzle. It's about trying to understand the hurt behind the anger, which is honestly one of the hardest but most humane things you can do.
Okay, so that was a really nice answer. So can you tell me, is it possible to be too kind? Where should we draw the line?
I think it is. Absolutely. There's a thin line between being kind and being a doormat when your kindness starts coming at the expense of your own mental health, your values, or your safety. It's no longer humanity. It's self sacrifice in a way that isn't healthy. The line should be drawn at your self respect. You can be compassionate towards someone's struggle while still saying, I can't let you treat me this way. True kindness
Okay,
includes being kind to yourself too.
so my next question from you is, why do people sometimes regret not being kind earlier?
I think it's because regret is the heart's way of telling us we missed a chance to connect. When we look back and realize we were cold or indifferent, we're not just mourning the action, we're mourning the version of ourselves we could have been in that moment. Plus, when someone is gone or a relationship is broken, the weight of what we didn't do suddenly feels much heavier than the reasons we had
Okay,
for
so my
not
next
doing it.
question from you is, what does being humane mean beyond just being alive?
I think that's the real question, isn't it? Being alive is just the biological part, the breathing, the heartbeat, the basic survival. But being human, that's the art of it. It's our ability to feel things that aren't there, to imagine a better world, to
Okay,
sacrifice for someone we love,
so my next
and to
question
find
from you
meaning in.
is, do you think fear stops people from being kind?
Absolutely. Fear is one of the biggest walls we build, whether it's the fear of being judged, the fear of getting hurt, or even the fear of not knowing how to help. It basically freezes our empathy.
So Maya,
It
I'm
turns a
going to
potential
ask you
moment.
some personal questions. So are you ready for this round?
Oh, now we're getting to the good stuff. I'm completely ready.
So
Lay it
what
on
is
me,
the
darling.
one what is the one habit that slowly destroys humanity?
That's a heavy one. I'd have to say indifference. It's the
Okay.
slow fade of just not caring anymore. When you stop seeing other people as humans with their own stories and start seeing them as background noise or
Okay.
obstacles. Once you
So my
stop
next question from you
noticing the
is, what is the one habit that builds strong humanity daily?
active listening, giving someone your full, undivided attention is like telling them you matter and your experience is valid.
Okay, Maya.
When you
So
do that
my
daily,
last question from you would be like, what does humanity Wali mean to you, Maya?
to me, Humanity Wadi feels like a sanctuary. It's not just a project or a title, it's like this safe, open space you've created where we can actually stop and think about what it means to be a good person. It represents your
So
curiosity,
this
your
means
heart,
that I am a good person or a kind-hearted.
based on everything we've talked about and the way you approach these questions. Absolutely. The fact that you're
Okay.
spending so much of
So
your time and
this
I mean, really,
this brings us to the end of this session. Thank you so much, Maya, for such a thoughtful and eye-opening conversation. Today we learned that humanity is not just a word, it's a way of living, way of breathing, and a way of understanding the world with kindness and empathy. And to everyone watching or listening, never underestimate the power of small acts of kindness. You never know whose life you might change. This is Alina Batul, Humanity Wali, signing off. Stay kind, stay human. Allah Hafiz and Pakistan. Zindabad.